Hey guys, Corey Fair here, sitting here with my buddy Al, and we're going to do another video guys for you today, and we're going to talk about several different topics. And the first topic we're going to get into is ego and humility. So for me, you know, back in my addiction and my mental health, I knew I had a problem, but I would say to myself, oh, I got this under control, it's all good, you got this, you don't need outside help. Not a problem, you can do this on your own. And obviously not. How many times did you say that to yourself?
Yeah, lots of times.
Yeah, so,
Lots of
and
times.
you know what guys, that is our egos talking, and it holds a lot of us back from big things. So, you know, if you're out there struggling with mental health or addiction, if your ego is holding you back, you got to become aware of that and deal with it. But ego is a really big topic in recovery, and you know, not just in recovery too, but like, you know, we get criticized for being, you know, an addict or an alcoholic, and from people who have no idea what they're talking about. And you know, I hear it all the time, people like cutting us up or tearing us down. They don't understand us. They're just, you know, they're taking their insecurities out on us to make themselves feel better. Well, guess what? That's ego too.
Yeah.
So, you know, for me, hey, I'm not perfect, but I will admit there was a time when I used to cut up other people and tear them down to make myself feel better. I don't have to do that anymore. I feel pretty good about myself.
Yeah, that's cool. You know, one of the things I remember in early recovery, because recovery is a spiritual program and everybody has a little bit of a different belief system, but I was taught in the early beginnings that ego stands for ease God out. And for people that aren't that religious based or anything else, it's ease good out, right? So it's when you're putting something else in your body and your ego gets interjected with that, and then you're acting in a way that's not normal or in a way that you would like to act.
Yep, absolutely. Right on. Yeah, that's
How about humility? That kind of goes with that.
yeah, absolutely. Humility for me, you know, even years ago growing up, I got into high school and you know, felt like I didn't fit in, and then got into the drugs and alcohol, and felt like I finally fit in because I was doing that stuff. Then I started kind of acting out, got into a lot of fights, and my head just blew up. I had this huge ego, and I had it for a long time. I had it for many years until I got clean, and now, you know, it's just completely switched around. I do not have an ego.
Yeah.
Humility is a huge part of my life. Like, we are all, you know, we're all right here. No one's better. No one's above us all. Like,
Yeah.
that's how I view myself. That's how everyone should view themselves. But unfortunately, that's not the way it is. But yeah, humility is a very big part of my life.
Yeah. I think the one thing I'd like to add is Corey and I are very confident and we're very passionate about recovery. Don't mistake that for ego.
Yeah.
That's because this is about helping others, right? And this is what we believe in, and it's very passionate. So although we may seem like we're on top of the world, things are going really good, we still deal with everyday issues just like you do.
Absolutely.
One moment at a time, sometimes a half an hour at a time, sometimes one day at a time.
Yep. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Cool. You want to go into the next one then?
Sure, yeah. Actually, the one thing we're kind of moving around a little bit today, one thing I'd like to talk about is grounding techniques. Terribly, terribly important when you're dealing with addiction issues and you're working on your recovery. So some of the things that I've learned in my past and the things that I practice today is if that I'm getting anxious, or if I'm not feeling well, or something's not going on, or I'm feeling confused or whatever, some of the things I do is I stick my hands in water, right? It physiologically changes your body and your brain thinking and goes, whoa, my hands are in water, right? And it changes your thinking immediately. So that's a quick way to get grounded. Changes your thinking. Practicing mindfulness. If you're in a position where you're not grounded and everything is going all over the place, whatever you're doing in the moment, say for an example, you're doing dishes and you're just anxious as all get out and you don't know how to control that. start being mindful. You take each dish, wash it gently with the rag, you look at it, make sure it's clean, rinse it all off, and then put it in the rack or on your tea towel, right? And it's just being mindful and grateful of these are the little things I can do, and all of a sudden the anxiousness disappears very quickly. Yeah. A couple of the other things that are really good, I try and do a body scan every morning. Helps me with grounding right off the bat, right? I start with my toes, I work up my legs, into my pelvis, chest, arms, shoulders, neck, head, face, ears, and I'm aware of what my body is doing right that moment in the first 30 seconds that I wake up in the morning. And I can take that throughout the day. All of a sudden I start feeling out of place or not feeling good or whatever that happens to be. I can move right back into that body scan, standing, sitting, walking, and go, okay, how am I feeling? What's going on, right? How come I'm disconnecting somehow? Yeah. Breathing, huge, huge, huge. I can't say enough about breathing. Yeah. You need to breathe in through your nose 4 seconds, so, and exhale 5. And do that for 10 times, and you'll start to calm yourself. It's just a wonderful, wonderful technique.
Absolutely. I've used it many, many times, breathing techniques. And there's many different ways. You know, you just mentioned the breathe in through your nose 4 times, breathe out through your mouth 5 times. Mm-hmm. I've done many, many different versions of that, and but I think more than anything, it's just slow the breathing down, distract. You know, don't focus on the future, don't focus on the past, just focus on the present moment. Yeah. And that's mindfulness, right? Yeah. But getting your breath in check and really taking those deep, long breaths. Yeah. That's huge. That has been very effective. I've been fired up with anxiety or anger or whatever many times way up there, and I do some mindfulness and really get that breathing going and just focus on the here and now, and it works. Yeah. It is very effective. So yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, thanks. I'm going to touch on one last one. In early recovery for me, the counselor said to me, because I was scrambled like bad eggs. Anyways, we laugh at sometimes we talk about things, and it's something that only a person who's an addict or in recovery will understand, and it's funny because we've lived the experience. Anyways, going back to my favorite place. When I was in early recovery, I didn't have a favorite place. I didn't know what that really was mentally, right? And the counselors and peers suggested, you know, where did you go, even in your addiction, that was fun and that you remember it was a great place. And for me, it was in Honolulu. I was in Hawaii, living out my addictive life in full form, buying marijuana illegally and everything on the island. But I did have this place where I was sitting underneath a palm tree. The waves were coming in. It was absolutely beautiful. I still use that space today, 21 plus years later, when I'm out of my sorts. I go back to my favorite place and I'm on that beach in Honolulu and everything melts away, right? And I get a chance to breathe again. So, any thoughts you have on grounding techniques you'd like to add before we move to another topic?
Yeah, I do a lot of grounding techniques as well, and I have many happy places, and you know, the gym, nature.
Excellent.
Yeah, those are all really good, and it definitely helps. You know, ground you, bring you from there down to there, right?
So absolutely. Yeah,
no, all good stuff. So
cool.
Now we'll go on to the next one. So recovery versus abstinence is our next topic. And I remember for me, you know, in high school I started with the softer drugs, and then got out of high school, started partying a lot more, and then the harder drugs come. Every once in a while, I was very lucky. I never got addicted to any of those drugs, but I was definitely doing a lot of them, but they never had a hold of me like the pain pills would later on in life. Anyways, there would be times when I wouldn't go, you know, I'd go a couple weeks without partying, without drugs or alcohol, and you know, I guess you could say that's abstinence, but I still had, you know, I still had problems up here, I still had mental health concerns, and that's abstinence. And a lot of people, you know, with drugs or alcohol, and, you know, just because they stop, they quit, well, that's just being abstinence. There's a very big difference from being abstinent and being in recovery. Yeah. So this last time that I got clean, I dove into recovery. You know, it's fixing all the problems I have up here, like counseling, programs, helping other people, 12-step programs, you know, as much as I could possibly think of to help better myself. And, you know, that's the difference. Just to stop the drugs, like, you know, I've heard the term many times, a dry drunk. I see a lot of these people, and, you know, anyone can spot these people from a mile away, right? They're angry, they're anxious, their life is just crap, like...
Angry, irritable, and discontent.
Exactly, there you go. So, yeah, big difference between recovery and abstinence, and yeah, you're seriously shooting yourself in the foot if you're just abstinent and not working a recovery program.
Yeah, for sure. I'll speak to that a little bit. If you're not in recovery, you're doing something else, and that something else is harmful to you and others around you. The abstinence part is critical as far as I'm concerned, because when you're talking about abstinence, anybody can stop drinking, anybody can stop smoking cigarettes, anybody can stop smoking crack. I mean, a lot of people are really good at quitting stuff. I quit lots of times, I'm an expert. You know, but 20 years in recovery, and I'm looking at abstinence, and like you, I see so many people who are irritable, angry, discontent. They're hanging onto the steering wheel, white knuckling, right? And that's a terrible way to go through life. Recovery has so many other options. It's helpful, it's helping others, it's gentle, instead of chaotic, mind confusing, anxiousness, mental health issues that all go with abstinence, because abstinence alone is not getting better, it's not getting healthy.
No.
Yeah, so, is there anything else you want to talk about on that?
No, I think that's good.
Okay.
You want to wrap us up with the last one?
Sure. One of the things that I learned early in program, and I'm a firm believer in it, is creating healthy boundaries and alliances. I'll speak to boundaries for the first bit. When I got into program early, it was suggested to me, and I understood it within about a month or so, and it was about changing your playground and changing your playmates. And I found very quickly that the guys that I used to hang with, they wanted to come back and hang and use drugs and alcohol and carry on and stuff like that. And within a couple of weeks, I had weaned everybody off except for one guy. He was a die-hard pot smoker. And our relationship ended probably 2 or 3 years after that, because he came over stoned a few times, and I just said, you can't do this because I'm working a different program, you know. So, and that's a boundary in a loving, detachment way that I said, you know, I can't do this with you. I wasn't standing on a soapbox going, you gotta be out of my life, because that's not recovery either, right? So those boundaries you have to learn to live with. Healthy boundaries and safe boundaries for yourself can include not disclosing who you are at work. Because there's a stigma attached to addicts of any generation. Even smokers now are shunned. You know, like, you walk around, people go, oh, you smoke? Oh, yeah, funny, eh? Sort of weird, eh? So I'm glad I don't have that going on in my life anymore. The other thing I think is really crucial is creating healthy alliances. And if you need to hook up with a 12-step group, you know, become involved in a group. Those are aftercare things that you can do for yourself that are critical and key to your recovery. Other alliances may include really working with a nutritionist, working with your family doctor, coming clean and being honest about who you are and what you need, what you want, and making healthy, lasting change in your life. So building those healthy alliances can be with counselors, it can be with peer support workers. There's a lot of different ways that you can create those healthy alliances. Do you want to share a little bit on that? I know you have some things going on.
Yeah, definitely. For me, there's absolutely no way I could be where I'm at today if I did not remove all the toxic people from my life. You know, birds of a feather flock together. Hear the saying in NA, if you hang out at the barbershop long enough, you're going to get a haircut. Couldn't agree with that stuff more.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Not that I need a haircut, but yeah, who you surround yourself with will absolutely lift you up or tear you down.
Yeah.
So choose your circle wisely.
Yes. Yeah. Very cool.
Right on. Yeah, I think we'll wrap up and stay tuned for more videos. So bye for now.
Yeah. Glad you could join us.